Dear students, hope all are doing well. In this online English module, we are going to start the discussion about the new paper design which has been prescribed by CBSE. So up till now, we all have finished the literature subjective thing and reading also, and we have read the chapters well, as well have seen the summary and the important ideas which are being discussed in the chapter. Now you will see, if you see the latest syllabus, they have actually changed a lot of paper designing, and the outline of the complete paper has been changed. Before that we had note making and summary in reading passages, but now we all have the two passages which are having simple MCQs, and both the passages combiningly will have the word limit of 750. Okay, so this is the first important point for today, that question number 1 with question number 2 will be based on some factual passage or some comprehensive passage having some vocabulary questions based on some news report. So all of that will have 10 marks. MCQs means question number 1 and question number 2 will be of 20 marks. Is it clear? I hope it's clear to all of you. Now we are leaving that question number 1 and 2 and coming up to part A, third part. Means this will be of literature part, and it will have the extracts from prose and poetry. So it is having like 8 marks, all of you having 10 options and you have to do 8. So you will definitely have a choice in it. Now from two prose extracts will be there from Flamingo and Vista, and then after this 4 marks poetry extract will be there. Now so 12 marks totally we are having here for extract based questions. Okay, so 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 marks extracts will be coming in your exam. Now, after this, we will again have the MCQ questions, 1 mark questions, textual based questions from the prose. Okay, so this will have completely literature, will have the MCQ of 20 marks, 8 plus 4 plus 8. Okay, so this all having MCQs. Now we are actually dealing with this part today, and let's start with the extracts. Okay, so I hope all of you are having your text open. I'm starting with poem, so that the poems are more easier than the chapters. Then we will deal slowly with the chapter whenever we get time like this. So the first poem which we had already covered, I had already covered with you in the classroom in the school when we used to meet. um, yeah, it's a really a thing of past, I can say, but I'm hopeful to meet you soon again, not virtually but physically in the classroom. And the poem which we are dealing today is My Mother at 66 by Kamla Das. So whenever the references are coming, you need to read the poem once again very nicely, and then once you go through the poem, you will find certain important phrases, difficult words, and some underlined meanings also. Certain kinds of figure of speeches are also used here. So a lot of questions they make, one on certain word they can ask you the meaning, they can ask, then they will can ask you about the figure of speech in the line, they can ask about the hidden expression which is there in the line. So let's discuss about the small questions which are there in the expected questions which are there in this poem. Question number 1. Please write down these questions. Why does the poetess look at young tree and merry children? Think a little. I am asking, why does the poetess look at young trees and merry children? Yes, please think with me. And the answer is to look at the freshness of life, to distract her mind from unhappy thoughts, and to give the readers a compare and contrast about the image of the mother, which is in a ailing state, and the young trees. Young trees means the green trees, which are symbolical to life. Okay, so this is one of the expected questions. Question number 2. What did the poet notice about her mother? So the poet notices that the mother is getting older day by day. She is becoming weak and aging factor is affecting her. What were her feelings? How she felt when she saw her mother? Obviously, she is in pain, fear, anxiety, agony. These are the words. Then we have figure of speeches. Her face Asian like that of a corpse. This line has been used in the poem, which means that her face is compared as a dead body, as a corpse, and the figure of speech is simile. She is extremely old, and that is why she has shown her agony and pain by comparing her face, which is ashen like, which is like a dull and gray color, and it is symbolical to death. Okay, so this is a simile which is being used here by Kamla Das. Second is, what kind of pain does Kamla Das feel in the My Mother at 66? So we can write it in three ways: pain of separation, pain of losing her mother, or the childhood fear to lose the mother. Okay, so any of the three answers are right. What do the parting words of the poet and her smile signifies? So when you read the poem, I am having my book open with me. All I did was smile and smile and smile. So the three times smile word is repeated. Repetition is there, which signifies that both her farewell to her mother and an effort to leave her with optimistic and cheerful attitude. She is hopeful to meet her again. She is emphasizing this particular idea of optimism by giving smile, and the linguistic device that the word is actually repeated here three times, and this is an ongoing thought process. This is not the thought which has stopped here. Okay, it is a continuous thought which is actually bothering her, and that is how the poet also uses the dashes here. Okay, so the use of dash symbolizes that the thought is dominant. Okay, the thought is continued after the journey also. She might be thinking the same. Then next question is, why are the young trees described as sprinting? The trees seem to be running past the moving car. The sprinting of the trees symbolizes the rapidly passing years of human life from childhood to old age. That's an important question again. What do the parting words of the poet and her simile signify? Signifies both her farewell to the mother and efforts to leave her. Okay, this is very important again. Now, this is very general about the poem. One very important line which is used here: trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards. So, where they both are going? They both are leading to the airport. Okay, so driving from my parents' home to Cochin. She was driving from the parents' home to Cochin. The day was Friday, and she was the mother was actually looking like pale. She was looking like a late winter's moon. Now here again, as is used, so it is a simile. It is a familiar ache. What do you mean by familiar ache here? Yes, familiar ache means a childhood fear. Okay, so she was actually bearing this childhood fear. Every child has this particular haunting idea in her mind that my parents will lose me one day. We are so much fearful about the thought of the death, that death will knock one day to our door. So we cannot accept this particular bitter truth. And here this particular word mentions her childhood fear, that this is a prolonged thought. This is just not the new thought in her mind that came because she is parting her way and she's going apart from her mother, but it's a childhood fear to lose her mother. So the Kamla Das here becomes very sentimental, and she actually talks about the complex subtlety of human relations. And this is where we actually feel helpless, that one day all of us has to, you know, part our ways. This is a law of nature, that death is an inevitable truth. And thus these things are very important, nicely described in the poem. I want to tell you here one thing, that Kamla Das is a feminist. Okay, so being a feminist, she always wrote in a very bold manner, and in a very apprehensive manner. But here in this poem, we find her as a, you know, as a loser. We find her as she was troublesome, as she was in a painful state of mind. And because she is very much close to her mother, she describes her condition, and there's a lot of compare and contrast in the poem. So this poem is very small poem, using lot of linguistic devices here. Long sentences. What kind of sentences are there? Long sentences, no punctuation marks. Okay, you feel you are having whole poem is in a single sentences punctuated by commas. Okay, lot of commas are there. So lot of continuation of ideas are being described here, dear students. So that denotes what? That denotes that this is a thought which the poet gives an emphasis. And she wants to tell again and again to the readers that this is not an easy thing to leave my mother this time, because I'm finding her condition ailing, miserable, pathetic, and I feel that my mother is losing all her strength, vitality, and somewhere down the line she knows that probably this may be her last meet. And that's why she is so much fearful about this particular thought. But then to at last, she never shows this fear on her face to the mother, and she says at last that mom, mother, amma. Okay, this word amma again refers to a very Indianized way of writing the poetry, and that's how Kamla Das is a Anglo-Indian poet. She is one of the best poets we have in Indian literature. She got the Pulitzer Prize also, students, and she's a Nobel Prize winner also, and very sensitive writer. So she wrote in at last that she gave smile. She used this word smile 3 times to give the emphasis on the idea that I am hopeful, I am optimistic. Though this thought is painful, I can actually sense the reality, but I know that you will be there in a happy state of mind and health, physically, both mentally and physically, and I will see you soon, amma. So she's transforming this hope and positivity to the mother who is old and ailing. This is a sense of responsibility that Kamla Das actually giving to the readers indirectly, that one should always give a light of hope, a ray of hope to the parents after a point of time. When you are young, when you are a child, what happened? Your mother actually gives you the protection, covering. She acts like a cocoon to you. She acts like a shell to you, and in that particular cocoon you feel so comfortable, so happy. And when you grow up, by the time you become more efficient, more liable, and then you can actually are fit to run in the race of materialism and life, you forget your responsibilities sometime. And here Kamla Das all telling us all that, in my hustle bustle rushy life, I spent some time when my mom was sitting besides me in the car. I saw her all pale, I saw her all lethargic, I saw her all losing the strength, and then I found it too difficult to see this. That's all painful. But then at last she was actually regaining all her positivity and transforming her to to the ailing mother, that actually, giving the life to someone else. So I hope this is the most important poem of our text, and we have done what today? We have done the explanation line by line again, and I have discussed the references of this particular chapter. So poem. Okay, so in my next video, I'm going to give you the next video in which we will deal with the next poem of your text. We are going to deal in this manner only. With this, I'm going to give you some small short references which are very important as far as the examination point of view. I hope this will be helpful for you to again restart your revise your poem or the poetry section. We are starting with the poetry section, then slowly gradually we will cover the prose section also. Thank you. Have a great day. Please do take care of yourself and your family members. Ask your doubts in the doubt session. Good day.